So that's all coming. So we're gonna, this year is all about scaling up, and then next year there's gonna be a massive wave of new products.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be discussing Giga Texas. This factory is going to change the entire landscape of Tesla's production capacity. They have, again, about 1 million vehicles production capacity once they're fully ramped. This is going to include 500,000 Model Y vehicles, as well as upwards of 500,000 Cyber trucks once those are finally launched. So there's a lot to be excited about with Giga Texas. They, in addition to this first phase, have tons of land that they're going to be working to develop over the coming years. I believe they have enough space to hold upwards of 6 gigafactories, and that's just what they have today. That's not to speak to any additional land they may purchase, either in Texas or in other parts of the United States. But my suspicion is that they're going to keep everything centralized in Texas. That'll be their main export hub. Yeah, they'll still have the Fremont factory that'll produce S's and X's, and they'll ship those around the world. It's a little easier maybe to get those across seas when you're, in California, right off the coast there. But Giga Texas is Tesla's main headquarters now. We know this. This has been, something that was talked about months ago, but it's an exciting time. At the Cyber Rodeo, Elon had mentioned that this is going to be where they'll produce the Cybertruck, the Roadster, the Semi, again, the Model Y. They'll even be producing Tesla's Optimus humanoid robot. That's going to be a major, major product launch once it finally comes out. Again, this is going to be their biggest factory in the entire world, so it's something to keep an eye on. Now, aside from cars and robots, Giga Texas will also be producing the 4680 battery cells that are going to go into all of the Model Ys, all of the Cybertrucks, and most of their higher density battery vehicles. So in some of their shorter range vehicles, obviously, they're still going to keep the LFP batteries, which is short for lithium iron phosphate. Now, with producing the 4680 cells out of Austin, this is something that a lot of people are going to overlook, which I don't think is wise to do. When we look at Tesla today as an EV manufacturer, obviously they're in the lead. This is the number one company. Everyone else is competing for number 2. And when we look at the world, the global scale, not simply here in the United States, but when we look at it from a global perspective, we see that obviously Tesla is just one of a few high-performing EV companies. Now in China, you have BYD, you have all these other electric vehicle companies that Tesla is in competition with. However, those other EV companies are not necessarily major factors in other markets around the world. So from a global perspective, Tesla certainly is the overall leader when it comes to producing EVs. And why is this? Well, China, when we look at it from a country perspective, China leads in EV production, right? They lead not only in EV production, but they lead in battery production. The United States pride ourselves on being a global superpower. When it comes to energy, there are other players in the game. When it comes to oil, there's Russia, there's, Saudi Arabia, there's all these different places that, the United States is in competition with. However, when it comes to battery cell production, when it comes to, energy storage, for batteries, the United States is not number one. In fact, China is the clear and away winner when it comes to battery production on an annual scale. This is important for the fact that we are becoming dependent on another country. And we've seen with the Russia-Ukraine ordeal that, other countries are dependent on Russia for their oil production, such as Germany. And in Germany, they rely on about 40% of their oil production to come from Russia. If we're dependent on China, what happens when China says or does something that we don't agree with, right? As a country, when China, begins trying to overtake one of our allies. How do we respond to that? It's very difficult if China says, hey, don't do anything or else we're not going to produce or give you guys your batteries for your energy needs. This is an important thing. This is something we should, as a society, be thinking about. Obviously, Tesla has been, and Tesla is an American company. That's the only thing we have going for us, because without Tesla, how would we ever stay in competition, right? Without Tesla, we would be looking at Ford and GM, to lead this EV revolution. And we've seen, some of the difficulties that they've had, getting their EV programs off the ground and getting them up to scale. Why is this? Because they're not EV manufacturers. And an electric vehicle is different from an ICE vehicle, from an internal combustion engine vehicle. We know this. If you're a car enthusiast, and even if you're not a car enthusiast, we all know that there's a difference between gas and electricity. And so I think when we look at the transition from gas to electric, not only here in the United States, but globally, we have to start thinking, how do we stay in the lead? Because the world is going to move with or without us, and it's going to move quickly. And when I say the world is moving quickly, I mean from a regulatory standpoint. Governments and whatnot around the world saying we're no longer going to allow internal combustion engine vehicles to be able to be purchased or, be purchased past a certain date. And then we're no longer going to allow them to be produced past a certain date. And then we're no longer going to allow them to even be run past a certain date. So as you start to see these types of regulations come into play, I think what we're going to start to see is that, the United States is no longer the clear-cut winner when it comes to auto manufacturing, right? However, auto manufacturing is, an important aspect to both our economy and our ability to move freely, right? If, for instance, gas reaches $4 a gallon nationally like it has, if it goes up to $5 a gallon, how almost impossible will it be for the average person, the person watching this? I ask you this question. If gas jumped up another $1 per gallon, how much more difficult would it be for you to maneuver around the way that you normally would, right? To go to work, to do anything. Let's say it's go to the beach if you live in California. Let's say it's to drive out to the mountains, whatever it is. Just the freedom that you have by getting in your vehicle and moving around. What happens if gas goes up by another $1? What if it goes up by $2 or in fact doubles from where it's at today? This is something that could happen, not to say that it will happen, but if it does happen, how prepared are you to deal with it, right? If you lost your job today, how prepared would you be to deal with, paying for your bills, for maintaining your household? How prepared would you be? I also have another video where I go a lot deeper into, why the battery game is important. If you guys are interested in that, click the card in the corner and check that video out. So next, Elon gave a bit of a roadmap update, and here it is.
So, and we're aiming to go to a wide beta for all full self-driving customers in North America this year. So, this is now our 6th major factory. We're really entering a new phase of Tesla's future. So, and scaling to extreme size. As you can see from this building, it's not small. I want to give you a sense of the size of this thing. If you put the building on its side, it's taller than the Burj Khalifa. That's to scale. This is the largest factory building in the world by volume. This is the machine that builds the machine, and it's the latest version of the machine that builds the machine. The factory is the product. Relative to production, prototypes are easy. Production is hard. And this building is the most advanced car factory that Earth has ever seen. And the team's doing great work in Fremont, California, but we took a lot of lessons learned from that, where the buildings were all separate. There's a lot of movement between the buildings. The thing that we thought makes sense is to really think of it like a chip, like an integrated circuit. Combine everything together in one package, and now this is what you get. This is a case of raw materials come in one side, they get formed into a cell, they get formed into a pack, then we cast the front and rear body, the pack itself is structural, and out comes a finished product. So it's raw materials in one side, cars out the other side. So we're building our own battery cells. We think the most advanced cell in the world here at Giga Texas, and we think over time this will probably be the biggest cell factory in the world. And then another major innovation is structural pack. Yes, exactly. If you don't make stuff, there is no stuff. And we're aiming just with the Model Y program alone to get to 500,000 units a year. And then we're going to start manufacturing Cybertruck here next year. What's next? I'm not going to spill all the beans right now. But what I can say is we're going to move to just truly massive scale. Scale that no company has ever achieved in the history of humanity. That has to happen in order to transition the world to sustainable energy. So massive scale, full self-driving. There's going to be a dedicated robotaxi. That's going to look pretty. It's going to look quite futuristic. Then of course we've got the Tesla robot, Optimus. I think Optimus will obviate what it even means, what an economy even means. So it'll be able to do, basically anything that humans don't want to do, Optimus will do it. And it's going to be an age of abundance. And then we've got, I think we have a shot at being in production for version 1 of Optimus, hopefully next year. And it's Cybertruck is coming next year. We'll be in production with Cybertruck next year. We'll be in production with the Roadster and with Semi. So that's all coming. So we're gonna this year is all about scaling up, and then next year there's gonna be a massive wave of new products.
This year will be primarily focused around scale. And in scaling up, we're going to see an increase in production capacity. Not only an increase in production capacity, but also an increase in deliveries. You can see where this goes. With an increase in deliveries means more money for Tesla. And with more money for Tesla means a greater market share. Greater market share obviously means that the stock price goes up. So if you're an investor in the company, this is a very, very important year for the company. I think that we see Tesla reach some crazy new highs in spite of everything that's going on at Giga Shanghai. But because of Giga Shanghai, I think we are going to see a bit of a pullback from what we could have potentially seen had there not been the entire zero COVID policy lockdown that is still ongoing, all because of the Omicron variant. Also, Elon's predicting that FSD from a level 4 perspective will be solved this year. And again, I know people are going to say, oh, Elon's made these claims in the past and he always says it's going to be solved this year. However, if you haven't seen it already, I have an FSD beta video that I recently uploaded. I'm going to be doing more of these videos as time goes on, but check out that video and just get a sense of what the software is capable of doing today. And if you look back at videos from when the program was first unveiled back in October of 2020, I believe it was, you'll start to see that the progress is just absolutely astounding. I was driving FSD beta earlier today, and I got back and I told my wife, obviously there's going to be some flaws in it. It's not perfect. It never will be perfect.
But it's important to emphasize it will never be perfect.
Autopilot will never be perfect.
No. I mean, nothing in the real world is perfect.
But where it's at today is kind of like a 12-year-old driving. A year ago, it was like a 1-year-old driving. You know what I mean? The rate at which it evolves is absolutely mind-boggling. But again, if you guys would like to see FSD in action, be sure to click the card in the corner or check the link in the description. A few other things that Elon mentioned during the Cyber Rodeo event was production next year is going to include the Cybertruck. The Optimus Bot V1 should enter production next year. The semi-truck should also enter production next year. And the $200,000 Roadster should also be entering production next year, which I am excited about, to say the least. I'm not a reservation holder. However, if everything goes right, I might not be a reservation holder, but I'm planning on making a video per each of these vehicles. So if you're interested in those, be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell so you can be sure to know as soon as those videos drop. Finally, there was a surprise mention by Elon, which was that Tesla is looking to produce a dedicated robo-taxi, and this is going to be a futuristic car, as he put it. Now, my suspicion is that this will be a steering wheel-less, pedal-less vehicle that will transport you to and from your destination that you're not able to purchase. You're able to purchase a Model S, 3, X, Y. You won't be able to purchase this vehicle. This vehicle will be owned and operated by Tesla with all of the excess cash that they have at their disposal. Not only that, but each of these cars will pay itself off extremely quickly. If all they're doing is driving around all day, every day, it should be about a 1-year payoff for the cost of the vehicle. And then at that point, it's just a revenue generating machine. So Tesla can essentially make 3x per car as opposed to selling that car to a customer. If you'd like to know more about that idea, definitely be sure to subscribe, because I got something I can talk about with that. That about does it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, again, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know as soon as I drop the next video. With that, I'm Willie G. This is Charged Up. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.